Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu traveling to Washington today. He's set to meet with President Biden tomorrow and also with Vice President Harris. And he'll speak to a joint session of Congress Wednesday. As CBN's Chris Mitchell reports from Jerusalem, the Prime Minister's visit comes as Israel has taken out a key Hamas leader and struck back after a drone attack on Tel Aviv.
Netanyahu explained one of his main goals as he heads to Washington.
I will seek to anchor the bipartisan support that is so important for Israel. And I will tell my friends on both sides of the aisle that regardless who the American people choose as their next president, Israel remains America's indispensable and strong ally in the Middle East.
Netanyahu's departure comes following an Israeli attack on a major port Saturday in Yemen, after the Iranian-backed Houthis fired a drone on Friday into the heart of Tel Aviv. The Israeli strike was called Operation Outstretched Arm, and it destroyed a key fuel depot and strategic port used by Iran to provide supplies for the Houthis. The IDF also made a point that the distance from Israel to Yemen is greater than the distance to Iran, sending a message that Iran's nuclear facilities are within its range. Iran, the Houthis, and Hezbollah all promised retaliation after the strike. Netanyahu said it was time to respond after the Houthis launched hundreds of ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and drones against Israel and affected one of the most important waterways in the world.
For over half a year, the Houthis have not only attacked Israel, they've also targeted the ships of dozens of countries traversing the Bab el-Mandeb Straits. This is a maritime corridor through which some 30% of the world's maritime commerce flows.
And on Sunday, the IDF confirmed a major victory in its war against Hamas, the death of Mohammed Deif, the #2 leader of the terrorist group in Gaza. Israel had bombed Deif and his top aide after weeks of surveillance. His death represents a major blow to Hamas, since Deif masterminded the October 7th massacre and built Hamas into a military force. Some experts say the elimination of Deif represents an even bigger blow to Hamas than would be the death of Yahya Sinwar. But Israel took a hit on the international legal front Friday, when the International Court of Justice in The Hague ruled that Israel's presence in the West Bank, biblical Judea and Samaria, is illegal. The non-binding ruling states that Israel has occupied Palestinian territory since 1967, and it is obligated to end its presence in the territory as rapidly as possible. The court also says Israel should provide reparations for any damage caused by its wrongful acts. Netanyahu and other Israeli leaders denounced the ruling. The Prime Minister said the Jewish people are not occupiers in their own land, not in our eternal capital, Jerusalem, not in the land of our ancestors in Judea and Samaria. No false decision in The Hague will distort this historical truth. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
All right, thank you, Chris. You'll be able to see Prime Minister Netanyahu's speech to Congress Wednesday, as CBN News will cover his address live Wednesday afternoon on the CBN News channel and on YouTube. Gordon, back over to you.
I encourage you to watch it because I believe it will be an historic address to rally us to fight this ideology. I do have to comment on our current strategy in the Middle East. Why did Israel take out their port facilities, and why haven't we already done that? We've been at war with the Houthis. We don't want to call it that, but it's been the most active naval engagement that our U.S. Navy has had since World War II, and that's directly coming from the U.S. Navy. That's not coming from me. That's coming from the Navy. Naval commanders right here in Norfolk, Virginia are saying they've been firing on us. So when you have someone attacking your naval vessels in international waters, that's an act of war. It seems like we just want to box them in and somehow contain it, that we don't want to actually win it. If we were trying to win the war against the Houthis, because it is a war, they have attacked, why don't we recognize what's going on? Why would we leave port facilities open and available for them to receive new weapons? Because that's what they're using it for. That's why Israel targeted it. If you're going to fire on us, we're going to make sure that your supply of weapons is cut off. It's the same thing in Ukraine, where, okay, Ukraine, we'll let you defend your own territory and strike Russian troops in your own territory, but we're not going to give you weapon systems that will actually let you strike Russian troops in Russia. Or the whole containment of Iran, where we want to negotiate with you. We want to give you hundreds of billions of dollars so you can spend it on more weapons and more uranium enrichment, and hopes that you come to your senses and you want world peace. They've never said that. They've said repeatedly since the Iranian Revolution that the United States is the great Satan. They are absolutely dedicated to our destruction. Why don't we believe them? Where's the wake-up call within our State Department, within our leadership? And this isn't a Republican-Democrat thing. It seems to be going on again and again and again, where administrations just want to kick the can down the road, want to play games of containment and appeasement, and in the name of humanitarian aid, give them incredible amounts of money, all of which they laugh at us, and they turn it into weapons. And Hamas laughing at us, laughing at the world community, where they should have the most prosperous city on the planet just based on the amount of money the UN has given them. What did they do with all of that money? Well, they starved their own people, they built tunnels, and they built rockets, and they launched attacks against Israel. When are we going to wake up to it, to say, no, not on our watch? If you're going to be bent on our destruction, well, then we're certainly not going to fund it. And when you attack us, we're going to attack back, and we're going to attack looking to win, not to some kind of appeasement and containment. We're going to be looking to win. I hope that message gets through, and that the American people wake up to this, because if we are always into this containment strategy, we are going to be in a forever war, because they're not going to give up without being defeated.